All right, the Reds. It's Talking Reds, and it's Talking Reds live from the studio in Liverpool. Myself, Gareth Roberts Mo Stewart with me this morning. Now, I don't know if you will have all have seen this, but certain journalists yesterday, London ones, Manchester ones that didn't support Liverpool, suggest that we should no longer be talking about the derby, the incidents in the derby, Jordan Pickford, the offside, all of that kind of thing. They say we should leave it now. They say journalists should leave it. They say the club should leave it. And I was happy to leave it. But then I got up this morning and I looked at the newspapers, and every single one pretty much, the back page is about the derby, Jordan Pickford, and the offside incidences and how the officials behaved in that game. So, who am I to argue, Mo? Do you know what I mean? So, the back page of the Times says, "Come clean on Van Dijk, say Liverpool." It's from Paul Joyce, who is one of the best connected journalists around Liverpool Football Club. He's basically saying that Liverpool were told that David Coote, the VAR official, did not check for a red card. Then, subsequently, they've heard from Mike Riley, who says he did check for a red card. So Liverpool are saying, well, which story is it, boys? Do you know what I mean? This is a bit weird. It's almost like you're making it up like you've gone along. Then, the Mail this morning has gone even further than that with an exclusive here. They say the VAR ref there forgot the rules. So basically gave offside and then didn't realise that you could still have the player sent off. Now again, I don't know why Liverpool would not feel aggrieved about that. And also, what I don't like about the chip-ins from the journalists, if you like, is the idea that this is in some way exclusive to Liverpool. I'm old enough to remember, for instance, Steven Gerrard putting a naughty challenge in on Naismith in the derby. No one would say it was a good challenge. The referee missed it. The media talked about it all week. And by the end of the week, he was in front of an FA board committee, whatever you want to call it, and he was given a 3-match ban. And I remember Gerard Houllier not being very happy about it because he felt it being a bit, over the top, the way the media had fueled it. So what I'm saying is, this is not a new thing. This is not exclusive for Liverpool, and this is not Everton being victimised.
Oh, it's certainly not Everton being victimised. I mean, we can start there really easily. The thing for me about it is that, yes, we have seen all these things before. And you were right in as much as you can't say that this is only just because of Van Dijk, because every time there's been a story that dominates the headlines like this, it goes on. But it's about more than that. It's about the accountability of the people who are making these decisions. That's really what it's about. So you can ignore Virgil van Dijk, you can ignore all of the Liverpool-centric stuff, because like we've said, it's not just Liverpool it happens to. And we're not just talking about bad tackles here. We're talking about when a referee has made a poor decision and it's been corroborated by another poor decision by the people who had the time and the energy to look at it. That's literally their job. And we've had 2 mistakes here. And then we have the head of these people, rather than coming out and saying, yes, this was a mistake here, this was a mistake here, we've spoken to this person's been disciplined, we're going to be taking them off games. They knew that they couldn't do that because they knew that the VAR was down to ref this game that was on last night.
Yeah, which was mad.
Which was mad, by the way.
You're talking about accountability, and it's like, well, however you look at these newspaper stories and however you add them up and whatever you want to conclude, he shouldn't be doing a fucking match the next night. It should be like, hang on, we need to take this lad out of the firing line. We need to come out and talk about what we're doing and not have these clandestine, statements to media organisations from spokesmen and all this. So someone needs to front up. If Mike Riley is sending emails, put Mike Riley in front of a screen with a microphone and explain to us, Mike, as normal football fans, what went on. Like on this frame rate thing keeps coming up. And the more I think about it, the more I say, if you were up front and spoke about that more, there might actually be a level of tolerance here. We might actually say, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
The technology isn't that good, and that's a bit shit, but okay, there's going to be times. So, you can see when the still that they've used to give offside, you can see that the ball's all blurred, as Thiago's playing the pass. And that's because they're using this 50 frame rate a second or whatever it is. So, and it's better than that when they're making goal line decisions, which is mad. But anyway, if they proper came out and communicated that and had someone fronted up in the media talking about this is the technology we've got, this is what the lads in the studio will have seen. They had to make a decision based on it. But they don't do that. And they hide behind this weird cloak.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's tied up in this. There's ego, there's political power within the PGMOL. But at the root of it all, I feel like they feel like if they acknowledge any weaknesses or vulnerability within the system, then it feels like that they can lose any authority they have. And that's just not the case. In fact, anything like you say, it's the opposite. That's why you get people like Mike Riley and all of these kind of subterfuge statements that essentially are there to try to take the heat off of the referees rather than saying, look,
he cocked up.
Well, yeah, and it's almost as if taking the heat off of the referees is more important than an individual referee learning from his mistake, because it's hard to say that he's going to learn from his mistake if he's been protected at every single level. Like, there's no one who sat down to him and said, look, mate, if we're going to do this, we're going to make a go of VAR, we have to be ultra careful. We have to check once, twice, 3 times. All that said, I do think that as much as all of that is true, there has to be some kind of accountability for the on-field referee as well. Like, at the time, because yes, we talk about, and that seems to have been lost quite a bit.
It does a bit, yeah.
When we're talking about the idea of
he appears to be able to see that challenge.
I mean, even if he didn't see the challenge happen, right, there's a break in play. Because Virgil's over there with his leg.
There's a monitor over there.
And it's like, I didn't see this incident, but he's over there and he looks in a bad way. Maybe I should take a look at this incident. Like, if that had happened, then all of this would not be going on. But what I want to say as well about this subject is the idea of tribalism. And yes, it's a derby, so it's always going to be wrapped up in there. And yes, Liverpool are a team who are always going to divide opinion. But the simple fact in all this, and we'll say this when we come on to Pickford himself, is the fact that if you allow this to get caught up in the tribal, we don't mind because it happened to a team we don't like, eventually it's going to come around and bite you. It's going to happen to all of us. So it's better for everybody in football for these rules to be clearer, to be better. I don't know if you've seen it, Robert, but there was footage from 2019 in the A-League in Australia where the referee was mic'd up.
You can hear what he's saying.
You can hear what he's saying, you can hear the conversation. And it is great. And I've seen lots of people say, oh yeah, you can't really compare like countries because of the culture of it. It's like, well, UEFA and FIFA literally do that. They make rules for everybody. And exactly, and people, the thing with rugby, because obviously I've been a fan of rugby a long time, people talk about, oh yeah, there's a different culture of respect from early on. It's like, that's bollocks. That's actually bollocks. Like, it's really, really easy to do. I think you'll find, if you speak to any ex-player, the kind of conversations you heard on that video from the Australian A-League are typical, as in the way that players will discuss things with a referee.
And some of them rugby league lads are not posh. No. They're from rough estates. There's parts of Wigan and St Helens that aren't the best. I think anyone who's even from there wouldn't mind me saying. What I'm saying is there's no big mad culture of respect for referees. You know, you've got scallies in footy and you've got scallies in rugby league as well.
What it is transparency.
Yeah.
And it shows.
And that's all we want, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the mad thing is, like Steve Warnock said to us when we were filming The Moment on Sunday, he said when they're broadcasting, they can hear what they're saying in Stockley Park. So if that's available, if that feed is available, if that audio is available, give us it.
Yeah.
What is there to hide?
If they
I mean, what I would say on what is there to hide is that decision. Remember when the ref was mic'd up and the decision against Spurs, I think was it John Moss, and he just sort of goes like, oh, I don't know, I'm just going to give it.
I think like, what? It's the incompetence. It's the incompetence of the people involved is what they're trying not to expose. But I just say to them, look, get people who aren't incompetent, and that's easier said than done. There's lots of things involved in that. Better training, maybe paying them more, all of these different things. Communication. So it's more than just about Liverpool being upset because their best player got injured. And I think that like we said before, we've got all these other instances. The Naismith one, I didn't realise he actually got banned for that.
Yeah, 3 matches.
Yeah, I remember Callum McManaman's one when he was playing for Wigan against the Newcastle player Haidara, in which the Newcastle guys were coming out saying the rules aren't fit for purpose. This whole thing happened then as well. But the difference between those incidents and this incident is that when those things happened, there wasn't a process in place to go back and check incidents. Now there is. So it should be working. It's that simple.
It's absolutely wild. I mean, one thing that is also on the back page of the newspaper today that we fully are not behind is that the police have ended up investigating death threats to Pickford. Now, there's something to be said about this, and Richarlison as well. Apparently, the pair of them were sent tweets with, mad language and death threats and all the rest of it. There's a few things here. One, you're a fucking knobhead if you're doing that, obviously.
Right off the bat.
Two, that is not representative of the majority of Liverpool fans. I hate when things like this happen because it's like one or two dickheads with a keyboard mean we all get tarred with the same brush, and it's really annoying. And three, there's been lots and lots of talk about the influence of social media in recent times, and rightly so. And you've got the likes of the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix and stuff like that, which is very good apart from the dramatic bits, which is weird as fuck. But I don't get why in this day and age when things like this keep happening, and they do keep happening, and it's not just around football, why can't there be a better way of allowing people to have accounts on these things? Like, it's got to be your picture, or you've got to give some kind of proof of address, or you've got to give your phone number, some traceability, basically.
Accountability.
Accountability again, because as soon as you've got that, I think all these blades that turn to making death threats and turn to being racist and sexist and all the rest of the grim stuff that we see on social media, all of a sudden it's much, much easier for the copper to go and give them a little knock and say, "Hiya, mate, this is you, get in the car."
I mean, to be honest, like, the fact that this is live is good because I wanted to make an actual question. I've got a question for you lot out there. Like, I don't know if you're someone who's ever tweeted a footballer after a game. My question to you is, why? What were you, genuinely, what were you trying to achieve from this? I mean, if it's just letting off steam, shout outside. Like, if you genuinely want an answer from them, then, I don't know, maybe you're even more stupid than I thought. But there really is literally no reason to do this. There's no reason to abuse footballers online, whether you tag them in or not. I just think it's one of those situations where people let frustration get the best of them, and when they have that outlet there, bad things are going to happen. It's like we talk about don't drink and die. Like, basically, if you've just broken up with someone and you go out on a night out, your mates take your phone off you so you don't do something stupid. Because you've got the temptation there and you're in that frame of mind, so you're going to do it. So I think we need to find as a culture different ways of doing things. And if you're a Liverpool fan doing it, it's even less reason, because until we next play them in however many months, there's literally no benefit. There's nothing that can be done. He's out there. He's playing football for Everton.
But also as well, like, the internet is literally real. It's not some fantasy land. You're not playing, some kind of computer game. Like, there's someone on the other end of these weird statements that you're making. There's someone with feelings. There's a human being there. And it doesn't matter how much money they're earning or how much money they're not earning. What you say and do carries some weight, whether it's online or offline. And what I hate about it as well is, most of the time when this type of stuff goes on, there's no way the people doing it would do it in person, would do it in real life, would do it in the street. It's shithouse behaviour, and it's really, really annoying. But like I say, I personally think the likes of Twitter, the likes of Facebook, Instagram, can be doing more here. They're making a lot of money, they're doing really well, and they know this is going on, and they're seemingly not doing too much about it. I know there's ways to report tweets and things like that. I've had it done to me. I've done it to other people. But you literally just have to delete the tweets and you move on. You know what I mean? There's no real sort of repercussion, and the police are looking into this. But I think we all know that if it's from an anonymous account and from BertieBigBollocks@gmail.com, they're unlikely to go and find the fella, you know what I mean? And so on it goes, and on it goes, and on it goes, and it's like, we keep talking about these stories and nothing new happens around it.
And the other argument that I really dislike is people saying, oh, well, they should just go off social media. Then it's like, No, that's the wrong way round.
Why?
We need to get the bad people off. The people.
That's like saying you shouldn't go to the pub, or you shouldn't have a life, or you shouldn't go to the park. You know, why just because you're a footballer, are you not allowed, in inverted commas, to have an account? You know, you should be able to have an account and do what you want on there and not expect a load of abuse back. As you say, you know, what you gain out of it. We've seen fans, including fans who prepare to be of Liverpool, you know, going at their own players as well. Again, what does that do? You know, how does that help? And I talk about that in real life as well, and I've been part of it in the past, but now I think more about my own behaviour a little bit and think, you know, when you're volleying them in the ground, you know, we haven't been in the ground for ages, you know, like, fucking hell, you're shit, you, and all that. Like, that's not helping. That's not helping anyone, is it?
And I'm not saying that we can't ever, you're not allowed to ever criticise a footballer ever, because, I mean, for starters,
there's a line.
Literally, we're doing this job. Yeah. But there's a line, and you're right, and you don't want it to have a detrimental effect on the person, because essentially you want them to play well because they're playing for your team and you want your team to do well. So if you're in the pub afterwards and you need to get it out about how much one player does you already, and that's fine, you're in the pub, you can have that conversation, and your mate will probably tell you, well, actually, do you remember this game where you did that and that, and you're like, actually, you know what, yeah, and you calm down a little bit, you're a little bit more reasoned. But this is the other thing with social media. When you're at that point of rage, if you then make a statement, that statement's out there forever. Like, it's literally out there forever. How many times have we seen now people who are being found with tweets that they made 4 or 5 years ago, they're getting them into trouble? It's out there forever. You can't take it back, even if you delete it, because someone will have screenshotted it.
Anyway, Liverpool tomorrow are back in European action. We are playing Ajax away. We are about to go and record the show all about this, so if you want more on this and more build up to this game, then do subscribe to the Anfield app and listen to the Under the Light show. But just briefly on it, Mo, it is great to have some European football again. It's been a long wait since we had, you know, the last one was March, and that was the last time we were in the ground as well. There's a bit of a weird one about this game in that, you know, for me, Ajax has been one of those sort of bucket list matches that I've always wanted to do, and you know, I've managed to tick off most of the ones that I want. So I've done Madrid, I've done Barcelona, I've done Munich. I wanted to do Ajax, and I've been to the ground and I've been on the tour, but I haven't been to a football match, and I haven't been to one involving Liverpool because we haven't played them since 1966 and I wasn't alive. And then also you've got the aspect that, of course, it's fair to say that in the Scouse community, Amsterdam is like a second home to a lot of people. Let's just put it that way. And they miss out obviously on this trip, and again that's a bit of a shame. Not only for us, for them as well. You know, they would have wanted the tourism, and they would have wanted us in the bars, and you know, it would have been great in the ground. So it's exciting that we got European football, and then at the same time it's a shame that it's not normal.
I think we need to keep saying that it's a shame part, even though it's the same thing we've been saying, because we never want to get to a situation where playing football without fans is normal. We need to keep saying that this is the alternative. This is what we're forced into doing. This is not how we would choose to do it. Because even though for most fans you think, oh yeah, well that's a given, there are people out there who are watching us and trying to make deals accordingly. So if that noise isn't out there, then they say, well, you know, maybe we can start thinking about doing football here and football there, football everywhere, start messing it up. But Ajax in particular, it really is a shame, because I've been to, I'm like you, I've been to the tour when I've been to Amsterdam before, and it looks fantastic when it's empty.
That's great.
Like, and the team, they've always been that kind of team that if you're a neutral, you root for, because they like to play football a good way. They've always been, I would say, been well supported.
Proper club.
Yeah, proper club.
4 European Cups.
And obviously, some people might think that they gave us a little bit of an assist when we won our last Champions League by knocking out some of the teams. I still think we'd have beaten them anyway, but that's one for debating. But I like the way that they've always been able to regenerate as well. Like, they're a model club for so many kind of teams who don't have the money. But what they've decided is that, look, we don't have the money to compete with the rest of Europe. We're going to pump all of our money into the youth development, into scouting, into coaching, and we're going to keep producing great players. And yes, they're going to keep going on. Like, Sergi Dest came in this season, went out again to Barcelona after 1 year. But they weren't worried. They've got another one. And I love that. I love the fact that everybody buys into it. So then you get a situation where there's no angst, there's no fans going, oh, well, he should stay here for longer, whatever. They know as well, like, Ajax get loads of their old players back. Ryan Babel came back.
Yeah.
Daley Bingham came back. David Clarkson came back. There's a reason they keep coming back.
Yeah, you shit for Everton.
Yeah. But I genuinely, I mean, we're going to get into this more in the other show, but I do think he's one to look at. I think that whole Everton experience, I think it was more about what was going on in the building rather than him as a player, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will talk about that more. As usual on the Anfield app, we are doing everything around all Liverpool games before, after, during and all the rest of it, so look out for all of that. But that has been another Talking Reds live. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, whether you were watching live or watching later. Do let us know what you think of these. It's a new thing we're trying out. We're trying to make it work. Nice one to Jordan behind the scenes there. Sweating bullets to make it work. And yeah, nice one to Mo, and a nice one to the newspapers for proving me right that Liverpool shouldn't shut the fuck up about all this, because they've been hard done to, and they should fucking say so. That has been Talking Reds.